One Battle After Another. It's a new film by Paul Thomas Anderson. Look, this is a really entertaining film. I really enjoyed this one, but there's a few problems with it, just in terms of the screenplay. I'm just going to run through a few of them now, because I found them to be issues for me when I was watching it, and even after watching it, when I thought about it later, I thought to myself, "Oh yeah, that didn't make sense," or "This could have been better," or "That could have been better." This scene with Leonardo DiCaprio and Benicio del Toro. Leo's drinking the alcohol here, and then the cops see that he's drinking alcohol, so they start pursuing the car. And then Leo ends up jumping out of the car and escaping. Later on, when the cops catch up to him, they ask him, "What was that you threw out?" And he says it was some rubbish, some junk. They never actually ask him about the passenger that they obviously saw in the car, which prompted them to start chasing Benicio del Toro and Leonardo DiCaprio. That was never mentioned. So I find that to be an extremely big loophole. With Willa, Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter in the film, there's this sequence where she learns karate, and she's supposed to be this karate champion, or just really good at karate. And I thought that this would have maybe played out towards the end of the film somehow. Maybe she would have used her karate skills and put them to the test, but none of this eventuated. It was never really spoken about again. She just resorted to a gun, machine gun, whatever, and the karate thing really had nothing else to do with it. It was just a plot point that really fell away to nothing. That was something that I was really thinking, what did the karate thing have to do with it all? Maybe it was just to introduce the Benicio del Toro character, but yeah, don't put so much emphasis on it if it's not going to become something later on. Another problem I have with Leonardo DiCaprio's character is there's no real character change throughout the film with him. There is to begin with. He starts off in the revolution gang that he's in, but then he turns into this pot smoker. But by the end of the film, he basically goes back to being the pot smoker. Doesn't really have much character change. He's sure he wants to save his daughter, but wouldn't that be most fathers' thing to do? Is just the logical thing to do would be to save your daughter, but he just goes straight back to smoking pot and gets back on with his life. I found that to be a little bit strange. There wasn't a huge character arc with Leonardo DiCaprio's main character. There's also another scene where this character Avanti basically betrays his whole gang because he doesn't want to kill a child, and then goes about killing his whole gang members, gets killed himself just to save Willa. I thought that was a little bit too far. I mean, he's obviously been part of this gang for how many years? I just thought that was a little bit sus, just to keep the plot moving. It was I didn't really believe it, put it that way. The scene at the end with Lockjaw, played by Sean Penn, where he comes back to the Christmas club and basically wants to come back and join the Christmas club. It doesn't really make sense for his character. Is he that naive to think that the Christmas club would still want him? Did he not put two and two together and realize that, okay, it was the Christmas club, the people in that were trying to kill me? I don't know if he would have been that naive about it, and if he is, then his character's just lowbrow, because obviously, if it was me, I would have thought, there's no way I'm going back to these guys. Are shady as. I'm not going to attempt to go back to them because they'll probably try and kill me again. But obviously his character was that naive, he didn't put two and two together. So that was another issue that I had with the ending there. Another issue is when Bob finally reunites with Willa. Willa she still points the gun at him and she's confused. It's her dad. I mean, I'm sure, okay, maybe she's in shock, but this seemed to just linger way too long. It just seemed to be put there for tension's sake. You'd think that she would know who it is. It's her dad. She's lived with him her whole life. I think she would realise a little bit sooner than what she does. I found it just to be extremely odd, and it was just a little bit unrealistic for me. Also, her acting doesn't seem the best either. She finally, she realises it's her dad. Okay, but you should have realised that within seconds, really. To me, this film feels like it's a first or a second draft. I feel like they could have really really fleshed this out and actually made these things turn into something. And it could have been a better film. Like I said, I really enjoyed this film. It was very entertaining, but looking back on it, I think were a lot of problems with it, a lot of loopholes. Um, but in the scheme of it, it's not that big. It's because it's done by a good director that it worked, and it's got a great ensemble cast that it really worked. But yeah, it's definitely one to think about, and that's why I don't think it will win Best Screenplay or Best Picture at the Oscars. I think it will win a few awards, but not one of the major categories. I think it may win for sound effects and things like that. Anyway, these are just some of the issues and problems that I've found with it. I'm sure there's lots more, but leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you had these same kind of issues with the film as I did. And until next time, the story's closed.